So, who's Daniella? I'm Daniella, and I am from Bartica. I grew up in Bartica with my grandmother, siblings, and cousins in the line. I was always very talkative. My grandmother called me Prattle Minister, and I always loved to write. She also called me Bobby Wrightel. I've always loved writing, and in my teen years, I created the blog to have a space where I could just write, and my writing would not be at the risk of someone finding them in a book or something. And so I think the first name of my blog was Scattered Words. But of course, as I wrote and, as I discovered that writing was my gift, things became clearer. I realized I wasn't just writing stories, or I wasn't just sharing my thoughts. They were meant to be something bigger. And I didn't know it then, but maybe 3 years later, I was thinking about a name, and Daniella enough, because at that time, it was for me some self-assurance, or some assurance that, you know what, I am enough. In spite of the failures, in spite of the challenges, in spite of the setbacks, I was enough. And so the name was birthed. Learning, being, becoming, Daniella Enough. So that's the blog. What inspired the book? I didn't plan on writing a book. I just liked writing. I just wrote. And sometimes my friends would be like, all right, when we can get a book, when the book coming? I'm like, a book? No. But while I was stuck in Colombia during the pandemic, it became clear to me that writing a book was an assignment. And at first I wondered how I do it, not having the resources, not having the knowledge of how to even go about writing this book, publishing this book. So the book is personal journey. It's about stepping out of your comfort zone. It's about embracing failure as a checkpoint in your journey, not your destination. It's about redefining success as a person. And it's also about discovering your gifts and watching the world make room for you. The launch is happening on Saturday, finally. And it's going to be at the Umana Yana, which is very special for me because as a hinterland student, Umana Yana was the place we went for the important gatherings, leaving President's College in the big bus, driving down to Umana Yana. And so having the launch at Umana Yana is very special. It's going to be on Saturday, July 19th at 3 p.m. Times Square. It was a big moment. I knew it was happening on that day. I knew the time it was happening. I saw it from my computer on the live camera. But when I got to Times Square and I know, I'm standing there waiting for it to come up on the screen, just like, okay, it's coming. But when it came on the screen, I just felt like my heart just started pounding. It was a moment. It was a moment where an idea was living out in the world in Times Square. It reminded me of my first time in Times Square, seeing the lights, seeing everything, the big city. It was a moment. Daniella the businesswoman is shaped by my mother. My mother has always been an entrepreneur. And so as a child, she started her first business. So she bought these sweet drinks and Chico, and we would sell them and use the money from them as our school money. And that's where Daniella the businesswoman, really started. And then later in high school, I went into a Chinese store on Regent Street and I saw that they were selling combs. And I was like, you know what? We always need combs in the derms, right? So I bought a pack of combs and I resold them. And things took off from there. It was doing rearing poultry after that. It was doing Avon after that. And then, was there anything in between? And now there's Stiletto Fetish, my women's shoes retail business, which I've been doing for over 11 years. So Daniella the businesswoman is, I sold fruit juice too. I had a fruit juice business named Fruit Go, for your fruit on the go. But Daniella the businesswoman, she's inspired by my mother, that part of me. The girl or the woman who still dreams of traveling the world. The girl who, takes the risks in spite of. And the girl who is just desiring to walk in purpose and to fulfill what God has assigned me to do. So I think that's Daniella the girl. That's me. That's Daniella.